Yep. I tell you what, just been really pleased with the focus that we had this week. We're looking forward to a big game at home against a really good opponent. They got a lot of really good players, but our guys have been really focused. Just coming off some really tough losses. Just really taking a hard look at ourselves and figuring out what we need to do to get things figured out. And our guys really, just really getting after it. Coaches are coaching really hard. Trying to get guys better, more discipline, better execution. We actually we had our highest output on our GPS units yesterday. They were the highest that we've had in any practice this season. We actually had to back them down today a little bit, just to make sure they're fresh. They're going to be fresh and ready for the game, and that shows me a lot about our guys. Their commitment to wanting to be, to reaching their full potential and getting the job done. So that's what we've asked of our guys. We're going to continue to challenge them. Coaches are going to continue to find ways to get our guys better, get better execution. A big part of it is going to be taking care of the football. Turnover margin is huge. It's the biggest indicator of winning and losing, college and pro, is the turnover margin. And we haven't been taking care of the ball like we need to, and we haven't taken it away. And in the games that we've where we won or we've been very close and had a chance, we've been even or on the plus side of the turnover margin. The games that we that we weren't in it is because of one of the factors has been takeaways. And so had the officials at practice today, hired officials, put them out there and tallied up any penalties we had. We had 2 false starts. We had a defensive offsides, defensive pass interference, and egregious defensive holding. So we called it out and addressed it there with those guys. And so we're going to continue to do those types of things to find ways to get everything we can out of this football team. We had a discipline exercise yesterday after practice. 25 reps. Every guy on the squad. Doing it right. If we didn't do it right, it didn't count. But it didn't go very long because guys got it right. So those are all those things. Watching the whole game as a team. Continuous copy, offense, defense, special teams in sequence. It's good for us. Guys get a chance to see what it's all about. What the guy next to him is doing. It's all out there. There's nowhere to hide. Just be neutral. See it and let's acknowledge it and get it fixed. And so, but it's really, really good to get back home. And our crowds have been strong. We're one of a few places in America that has packed it out. Every game, and that's what I remember about this place when I played against the Buffs way back when I was in college. That was my last memory of CU was just seeing just a crazy crowd packed in there. 50,000. The noise it just never escapes. Ralphie running, damn good football team out there. That's what I remember, and that's what it's been. That's what it's been this year. So it's really good for recruiting because that's what these guys want to see. We're recruiting against Oregon and the SEC schools and USC and that's what it is. That's what big time football is all about. That's what these guys. That's what they want to be a part of, and that's why we do it. And so, we've our crowd, our fans have done a great job this year. So I'm really looking forward to getting back and getting out there.
When you say you took a hard look at things, what did that reveal? Obviously, you mentioned the turnovers, but when you took a hard look, what did it reveal to you or maybe the team?
Yeah, we have some repeat offenders, in terms of penalties, and so you either have to replace them or you got to get them better. It just depends on who's behind them and who gives you the best chance to get the job done. So that's part of it. Also, you see where you're just really, really close on some things, like really close. It's a game of inches. It's not just cliche. It really is. I mean, really close to connecting on a deep ball. Where we got a guy beat. And we got a good ball, ran a good route, just not quite connecting. Well, it's a, you know, in this last game I think we had 5 missed sacks on guys scot-free, you know, just straight free runners to the quarterback, which you don't get versus air raid. I think they've had maybe 14 sacks in the past 2 seasons combined, and we had 4 missed opportunities on defense, opportunities to get the ball, where it's get your hand on the ball or ball's on the ground, you know. So you get, those are opportunities that can change the game, and so we have to make those plays. And so how do you do that? We do drills, rush to the upfield shoulder of the quarterback, to his face and to his back, things like that. We had a coach, we had a coach get an interception the other day. Yesterday in practice, he got it and got up the sideline. He scored, and we celebrated that. We got to get, take the ball away. So, just emphasizing those types of things. It's very revealing. Finishing blocks. Finishing blocks. One, strain a little bit longer. As whatever position, the receiver position on the D line. Offense line, receivers. Strain a little bit more. Get that block springer guy. That maybe give us a first down and maybe create a 3rd and short. Just all of the details, body language. Take a look at that. That's a big part of it. And body language is huge. Staying poised, staying neutral, playing the next play. So there's a lot of things that are revealed, and you just have to point them out. You got to, have to coach them through it because, sometimes, they don't know, and then they don't know. So that's level 2, and then they don't know that we know they don't know. That's level 3, So you have to coach guys through that and show them. And this is right, this is wrong, this is the way you do it. Sometimes you got to ask questions. Why did you do that? What did you see? And then try to help them get better. Same thing as coaching staff, man. We look at everything that we do too, as well. Like, how can we be more efficient? How can we do a better job of coaching? Maybe how can we get the message across maybe in a different way? Those types of things. Just so, and that's what you have to do. You can't overlook anything. It all adds up. It's all important.
Coach, kind of a 2-part question on the offense. I guess first, midway through the season here, is that unit still searching for maybe an identity, something to kind of hang their collective hats on, say every game we can do this?
Well, we've gotten to the point where we've been able to run the football, and that's good, and we've wanted to do that. We've been running the ball efficiently, and we've been moving the ball in terms of drives and yardage and things like that. It's just finishing drives, red zone production. But our identity needs to be run the ball on our terms, be able to make explosive plays, take care of the football, score points, at least end every series with a kick, extra point, field goal, or punt, So that's a big part of it, and we're working towards that. Obviously, we're not where we need to be right now, but we're working towards it, and I expect us to get there at some point, and hopefully this week.
If I can follow up on that, when it comes to play calling, I know Jay calls the play. What's your role? Do you have veto power, audible power in the middle of the game? How does that work out?
I have all types of power. Yeah. I have all types of power, yeah. Yeah, I really like the way Jay calls games. He does a really good job. He's got really good balance, distributes the ball, to guys, gets the ball to our playmakers. He's always protection conscious for the quarterback. So he does a real nice job. Same thing on defense.
Now, what can you do at this point to help Steven focus, just to help Steven be more of who he can be?
Yeah, communication, just having a real good relationship with him, talking to him, listening, and believing in him, and, showing confidence in him. And then, we coach him hard and coach the details. We don't sugarcoat anything with any of our players. So, if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. And there's really no in between. And so, just being honest with them and and then making sure the guys around them are doing their job. That's why I don't like to make a lot of comments, about individual plays after games, because you don't really know until you watch the film and see what really happens. So we got to make sure that everyone's doing their job and supporting him, and then obviously he's got to do a better job and making better decisions and get his job done.
How was Steven's confidence after these last two games?
Looks good to me. You could tell when a guy doesn't have confidence because you see him all the time. You see him every single day. So if a guy's struggling with confidence. Now, I haven't seen that from him. He's fighting and scrapping, and he made plays yesterday. He made some plays today. I saw him throw. He threw a ball. He threw a ball early. He threw a ball today. Got it out there. It was a little low. We didn't catch it. The guy was open. He didn't catch it. Man, he's like saying, "Hey, man, I got to give you a better ball." That's what he's saying to the receiver. He's going, "Hey, man, I got to give you a better ball." It was a catchable ball, but to say that, that tells you something about him. Hey, let me give you a better ball. Give you a better chance to catch it. And the receiver saying, "Hey, man, it was a good enough ball. I got to make that play." And so that's how that's how you work through it. It's a challenge, and I love it. And our players, I could tell by the way they practice. Like I said, the GPS numbers were through the roof. It was an APB. It was like a alert last night on the text, like, "Hey, we might have to back these guys down tomorrow." And so we did that because guys are just getting after it so hard, and I know it's because it's more than, it becomes more than motivation. It's like drive. And there's a difference between motivation and drive. Motivation can wear off. You can be motivated when you're winning or whatever, but when it's tough or whatever, you got to have drive. And we're coming home. That's our crowd has been great, and you can't underestimate the atmosphere that we have in Folsom. Here in Boulder, it's a place where you can really pack them in there and really just get after it. And really, that's what I'm used to. I'm used to it being good, bad, ugly. I'm used to it being rowdy and getting after it. Ohio State, man, 105,000, man, never been an empty seat. And I can remember our first year at Ohio State. Coach Trussell made us. We had to sing the alma mater, win, lose, or draw, after a game, the student section. And after a game, we lose, I think it was Illinois at home. Man, we go over there to the student section, we're singing that alma mater, man. It was brutal. It was rough. But hey, that's big time college football. That's when it's good, it's really, really good. It's really good. When it's bad, it's bad. And I can remember our first year at LSU, and we're at home, Tiger Stadium. Place is going nuts. We lose the UAB at home. I'm in the press box, doing personnel and coaching the secondary. I'm in the press box. We normally have security, up and down. After the game, people are not happy in Baton Rouge, and go to get out of the press box. No security. No security. It was tough getting down to the locker room. It was real tough, rough. And I can remember Georgia, man, our first year at Georgia. It's a place where it's 100,000, 80, 90,000 people, getting after it, rough. And I can remember Georgia, our first year at Georgia, man, we got 2-score lead in the fourth quarter against Georgia Tech. And in-state rivalry, they come back and beat us at home, and they run across the field and start ripping the hedges out on our home field, and at home, and fans weren't happy, man. Neither were we. That's rough. That's rough. And so, but that's the beauty of it, man. That's the great thing about college football, man. That's what you live. That's what great thing about sports, man. Let's get after it and let's see what happens. I remember going down to Browns games when I was little. Going down to the Municipal Stadium, the old Browns down there it's freezing down there, and just I mean, but never leaving early. Like my dad saying, "Hey, you want to go beat the traffic?" Like, no. I mean, the fight's breaking out in the dog pound. You don't have a good team. You're freezing. You know, got frostbite, and just out there, just taking it in and being a fan. Going on the way home, either catching the bus home or driving home, saying, "Hey, man, can we get a quarterback in there, man? What are we doing, or man? Do you see that guy? You know, that's what it is. You know, that's how I grew up. That's all I know. I mean, that's what I know football to be, and so that's why I'm really excited to come back home on Friday night.
I'm sorry, I run the Brian side follow-up questions for you.
Red Right 88.
Yeah.
Don't ask me. Ask Dave Logan. He can tell you a great story about that.
I know he's right there. We haven't had a chance, though, at least on a public forum, to ask you about obviously the news of the transfers yesterday.
Yep.
It brings up a larger issue that sometimes happens with new staffs in transitions. And how do you gauge, it's kind of circling the wagons? Like you said, you've seen the best of times and the worst of times in like 6 weeks already. If you try to keep that balance. But how do you kind of navigate a locker room when you've got, your quote-unquote your guys and quote-unquote the guys who are here, and not trying to create those separations and cliques and things that often happen anytime, as you've seen in various staffs, where there's a transition and you'll get guys who aren't on board and the guys who are? Or is that just a natural course of things?
Yeah, well, first, they're all my guys. They're all our guys right now, and I told them that from day one. Whether I recruited you or not, we're gonna love you up. You my guy. I'm gonna run through a wall for you, and that's the way it's gonna be. So I don't think we've had that type of issue with new guys versus guys that were here before. We're all in the same boat. I mean, shoot, we parted ways with, I think, 13 or 14 guys since I got here December 5th. And that's part of it. For various reasons. It's different reasons. And I wish those guys well. It's not personal. Everyone wants to make decisions they think are the best for them. And I respect that, totally. And so with Aaron Maddox, Aaron wanted the red shirt. He expressed the interest in the red shirt. I couldn't guarantee him that. So consequently, he's in the portal. Same thing with Darian Jones. He expressed an interest to red shirt. I couldn't guarantee that. So, he's not with us. Jacob Collier, was just not working out for him here with us, and so, he's no longer with us. That's three guys in a matter of 2 days, and so but I wish them the best, and I'm going to be here for them if they need anything. And this is a great university, and it's a great opportunity to get education from a first-class place. A degree from here means a lot. It carries a lot of weight in this world, and so, we do a lot of things right around here. And we have really good academic support, great counselors, mentors, got mental health counseling available for our guys. We have, great athletic trainers. We got a new trainer this year from Washington State. We got great equipment guys. We got a couple new equipment guys from Stanford. We just hired a full-time nutritionist for football only. To work with our guys. We have an open door policy with our coaching staff. We travel in a first-class manner. We got suits for our guys. We check their classes to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. We hold them accountable. We just have really good rapport. We have great communication with our guys. And so, the 20-hour rule, we don't go over time. Our practices start on time, they end on time. And so guys have plenty of time to have balance in whatever they want to do. With academics, and then have some discretionary time for themselves. So we do everything we can for our players, on and off the field. But it's just not for everyone, And so, that's. But this is a great place, and when in recruiting, we have recruits that are very impressed with what we're doing, and they see the direction this program is going. Their parents see it, and their high school coaches see it. And so that's why we're doing well in recruiting, because it's obvious when you go behind the curtain, get a chance to see what we're really doing. It's obvious to see things are being done the right way, and but there's things that are going to be done a certain way here.
Mel, will you play a team this year that has any more depth, any more team speed, than USC right now. I mean, they had a second-team, fourth-team running back come in and run for 100 yards. Second-team linebacker had 13 tackles last week. Will you see a team that has any more depth than these guys?
Yeah, they've got some depth, and that's really you know, when you with good teams, you know, they usually have pretty good depth, you know, and so you know, a guy goes down, a guy can step in and get the job done. They have that. Everyone we play has good players, you know. We have our fair share of good players as well, you know. So you know, week in and week out, it's going to be that. But you know, you know, sometimes when guys that you see a fourth-team running back going there and he's ripping and running up and down the field. You know, where'd that guy come from, right? Well, that's recruiting. That's called recruiting. You know, and that's the name of this game. And it takes a little. Sometimes it takes a couple classes, you know, where you can get like that. You know, because you know, you can only sign so many guys in 1 year, and then you also have APR issues that have to be accounted for in terms of, you know, guys in and out of your program. You know, so you know, it's but they've done, you know, they've done some good things in recruiting, obviously because they have some really good players, and they've developed some good players as well, coaching staff.
Does the game change when you get in the red zone? I had someone tell me that he felt the game sort of became more one-on-one, man-on-man because the field shortens and maybe scheme doesn't matter as much. But just talk about the red zone and the issues, and does the game change, I guess, the closer you get?
Yeah, everything happens quicker in the red zone. You don't have as much space, and so you know, red zone is a special situations. It's like short yardage or goal line or 2 minutes before the half, 2 minutes at the end of the game, or maybe a coming out situation, because so you have you have a red zone package on offense and defense, you know, and it is different. And you know, obviously most people in the red zone, you know, they love to be able to run it in, because another factor of in winning and losing is rushing touchdowns. You know, college and pro, that's a big factor. You know, and so on offense, you love to be able to run it in, and on defense, you never want to let them run it in. You know, and then you know, the percentage of plays that you have in the red zone is not as much as you have in other parts of the field. So you know, sometimes you don't spend as much time with red zone as you do the other phases, because it just makes a lot of sense. So you know, people usually do what they do in the red zone. You know, they do what they do, and they may you know, have a little game plan here and there, but you know, it is different. And if you're not performing well in the red zone, you have to dedicate more time to it. You know, and you really have to break it down. But it's really about execution. I mean, it's huge execution, because things happen really, really fast down there. But if you can run it in, it makes it a lot easier.
You've mentioned in the past the way you guys practice and give those guys extra time at the end of practice. It
Yeah.
kind of helps develop them. You gave a story, I think it was last year at Georgia, you had a guy that over the season you eventually became a starter for you.
He did, yeah.
Is Jamar Montgomery one of those guys we're seeing that's developing from that? And he got some playing time last week, and I see a guy that's kind of coming on with that.
Yep, he's one of those guys. He's one of the Ghostbusters, man, we call him. We have a Ghostbusters series after practice, and those guys go out there, they get after it. Even the days when we don't have pads on, they carry their pads out on the side, and after practice, they go put them on and go out there and get it in. And so he's developed to the point where, you know, he's earned some playing time. He gets in the game, does a good job on special teams. He made plays for us on defense. You know, Josh Allen's has developed, earned some playing time. He's got in the game, was one of our best players on the field, you know, last week. So KJ Trujillo, same thing. Tyreek Luckett was in the game. You know, Mark Perry was in the game. There was a point in time where Tyreek, KJ, and Mark were on the field at the same time, and those guys were all Ghostbusters, and so and that's what it's all about. You got to get as many guys ready to play as possible because it's never ending. The games, they don't stop for anyone because you're going to have injuries. You're going to have, and it's going to be competition also. Because we're always evaluating who are the guys that give us the best chance. There's some guys now that were playing more early, and they're not playing as much now because they haven't performed or someone's passed them up. And it's one thing I learned about. I learned from Romeo Crennel in the NFL. He said the guys that haven't proven that they can do it. They got to prove that they can, and some guys that have done it before, they got to prove they still can do it. You might have a veteran guy that's 12 years, but he got to prove he still can do it. If not, got to get somebody else in there, and if a guy can't get the job done, then sometimes you got to. I've told players this. You're not getting it done. I'm going to give somebody else a chance to get it done. I don't know if they can get it done or not, but I know you can't. Okay, so I'm going to give somebody else a chance to get it done, and if they can't get it done, then we'll go to the next guy. And then you get yourself ready for your next opportunity if it comes around, So that's why we have to compete. And the stronger roster you have, the more depth that you have, the more competition you have on the field, and that's a big part of, how you get better because you practice a lot more than you play. So when you have a depth on your roster and you have really, really good players at every position, 2, 3, 4 deep, and then you're out there competing for playing time and just sharpening the saw and steel, sharpening steel, that's how you get better. Competitive practice. And if guys are, then you have kind of a merit-based deal in terms of playing time. So. If a guy is not has shown that he can't get his job done, and we can't get him to the point where he can be efficient, then there's someone else there that you can give that person a chance. And you have to evaluate that. And sometimes you're in a situation where the guy that you have in there, he gives you the best chance, period. So now you got to find a way to get him better. And it's like you talked about the portal. You're running to guys that have already been in the portal once. They've already been through the portal. So now what? They're stuck. Okay, so they just got to quit or get better. It's one or two, but they're not going in the portal again. So it's all different types of factors. In terms of competition, getting guys better. Like we talked about drive, motivation. It takes what it takes. And that's the beauty of it. And the good thing is I don't have to teach any classes. I don't have to teach any classes. All I got to do is come in all day, every day, and do ball and work on these guys. And so that's why I love it so much. It's just a great challenge, and it's a character builder for guys. I had a guy that forgot his top to his suit jacket. So we had to address that. But I told him, I said, you go to a job interview and you forget your jacket, that could be the difference between getting that job or not. So, let's learn from it. Let's get better. And I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you get better because we're going to address it. We're going to confront it. And so that's all a part of what we're doing here.
How'd you come up with Ghostbusters?
The late Terry Hapner, Coach Hapner. He was in his it was his first head job, he actually recruited me when I was in high school. He was the defensive coordinator at Miami of Ohio. I think Randy Walker got the Northwestern job. He became the head coach. He remembered me, gave me my first full-time job. I left Michigan State as a GA. I go to Miami of Ohio, cradle of coaches. I'm coaching the secondary. We're out there practicing. He looks at his watch at the end of practice. There was a little bit more time left. We're done early. He said, I want a Ghostbusters series. I want a series with the Ghostbusters. So we put the 3s and the 4s out there. We got those guys better. And so we always took pride and the bottom part of the roster of some of those young guys. Every opportunity you get to get those guys some reps and coach them hard and try to get them better because we've all seen it over the years. There's a guy maybe he wasn't starting, maybe he wasn't even part of the thought process. Kept getting better and better and better and better. Next thing you know, you see the guy out there, he's playing, making plays for you. It happens over the course of a kid's career, and it happens also like during the season, and we have that happening right now. It's on both sides of the ball and on special teams as well. You have to coach every single guy every day, walk-ons included. You got to coach them up. As we only started with, I think, 130, and so we took 71 on the road with this, this last game. We took 71.
When a team is considered an underdog in a game, is it your experience that there's a recipe for an upset? Is there anything different about winning a game when you're an underdog? Is your experience showing you that there are certain things that need to happen?
That's a good question. First of all, you got to believe you can win the game. That's first. You got to have a belief, and not just hoping, but actually believe. And then there's certain things that you have to do to be able to win any game. Take care of the football, take it away, be efficient on early downs, on both sides of the ball. Convert on third downs. Possess the ball. Score in the red zone, play good red zone defense, keep points off the board, be flawless on special teams, opportunistic on defense, players make plays, big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games, so your good players got to step up and be good players. Competitive greatness, they call that competitive greatness. And so you have to have those things. And you cannot get overwhelmed by the other team's talent or the magnitude of the situation. Never look at the scoreboard. You stay neutral. You play the next play. You treat every play as though it has a history and a life of its own. And you grind it out. You have a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter, and you make the play. You got to make one more play. And that's how you get it done. All right. Thank you, guys.